People, I wanted to show you something today that I'm quite excited about. A new product made by Robbie Hall. It's the Ethos Clean Fusion Deluxe. Now, I've been using the Ethos overdrive pedal for a very long time, since back in the earliest days of the pedal. And this new product is kind of a I don't want to say the culmination, because Robbie's still working on new things, but it is really quite a lot of wonderful attributes that we've been asking for and that he's figured out how to accomplish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little tour of this, just unaccompanied, through a Fender Telecaster with funny pickups, a Princeton reverb with the reverb turned off, and just by myself playing some familiar kind of bluesy licks, because I want to make sure that I don't distract your ears by any terribly fancy things. But anyway, here is the reverb, or sorry, the Princeton reverb. Typical, right? No reverb, because the reverb is going to be coming from the Clean Fusion Deluxe. Each channel has its own reverb, and we'll play around with that a little bit. So I'm going to go to the Deluxe reverb channel, Fender-y type thing, a black panel type of effect here. This pickup here, the Lawler Charlie Christian, is quite a warm pickup. So realize that this channel is going to sound quite warm and jazzy on this pickup. Okay, there's treble and bass control, reverb here, and then also a high cut, so we can warm it up or darken it up. However, I've got it set so that when I move to the middle and rear position, it's not too stinking bright. The gain knob here is basically like the volume control on a deluxe reverb, and this is a master volume for this channel. So let's just give a little tour. Both pickups together. The reverb is not overwhelming, but it's there. That's it. Now, watch this. I'm going to turn the volume down and raise the gain up to the crunchy territory. And let's see how I'm going to leave it back here. Very nice. You can get your deluxe reverb to do that if you turn it way up, but in this case you don't have to do the turn it way up part of the equation. And it doesn't splat out or act funny. Then the other cool thing about this product is when you lighten your touch or turn your volume down, it really cleans up. Now I'm up all the way, I'm just touching it really lightly. If you want to turn it down, really get a lot of control right off of your volume control. So you can set it in a sort of a middle zone, turn it up and down with your volume knob, like a good amplifier ought to do, and so it does that. Okay, so now there's a couple of other features here. The PAB is a preamp bypass. So if I'm playing that, let's go back to a cleaner sound. So this is more like just a clean deluxe reverb. Maybe the volume is on 3 or maybe a little between 3 and 4. Right? If I do the preamp bypass, I take away all the cutting that's happening on the 2 preamp controls. So let me shut up and play, and I'll do both. Without. It's subtle. The mid-range on the preamp of the Deluxe is fixed like it is on a Fender Deluxe Reverb. So when you do the preamp bypass, you're only just bypassing the bass and the treble, and it ends up being fairly subtle. Okay, the other thing that this thing has is what Robbie calls the HRM, and it's a little bit more control, and it's got a boost function if you need it or want it, and you can play around with the EQ, but this is the post EQ. So let's hear how that sounds. So I'm in the just the regular channel. Push the HRM. You can boost it more. Bring it down. And then you get really good sculpting, so I can really get a lot of boom, bass boom. I've got mids, so I can bring those up, and then I can maybe trim the highs a little bit, and watch this, the difference. So there's a lot of sculpting going on here if you do the knobs lesser or more than halfway or so. I found that I like to keep the sound about the same, but boost it. So that's this type of effect. Just a little lift, okay? So that's the Deluxe channel. If we change to the other channel, this is set up now for me, more oriented toward the rear pickup. I tend not to like overdrive on the neck pickup much, so I've got it on the rear pickup, and we'll see how that sounds. Okay, good. So now I'm in kind of the D style mode. On this channel, there's an incredible amount of sculpting. There's a low and high gain. I'm in the low gain setting now because I tend to like the overdrive side of the amp to still remain somewhat clear without a lot of hair or fizziness. So I kept it on the low side. Let's just see what the difference is. Low gain, I'm going to flick the switch, these little tiny switches. That's not my favorite thing, but it's there if you need it. Okay, and then treble, middle, and bass. I've got the middle up quite a bit on this one. Now, I've heard people say that they tried the Ethos and it sounded too mid-rangey for them. Well, realize that the mid-range knob on this thing really does something. So you've got to be careful. Now, the reason I have it up quite high is this pickup is not very high output and doesn't have much mid-range. So if I want to get that sort of saxophone-like quality, I would drive the mid-range a little bit. But let's see how it would be with all the knobs somewhat straight up and down, a little bit less bass, treble and middle straight up and down. That's really nice, actually. And then again, you touch it soft and it cleans up really nice. lightens up a little bit. Now I can actually be accused of being a little dark sometimes, but that to me is perfect, because what I'm looking for is a dynamic type of overdrive that is clear and not hairy, but when I want to dig in, it gives me more. When I want to back off, it gets more close to the clean side of things. In fact, notice I've got the gain set here. You can get this channel, the so-called D-style channel, to be almost as clean as the Deluxe channel. So there's a lot of ways to try and make sure you can get the sounds you're looking for. And you could also put another boost pedal or something in front, but I can't imagine why you'd want to do that. So let's go back to this channel. I'm getting a great sound right now. All the way, and then I turn down just a little bit. Now let's see what the preamp bypass does. Sorry, I'm going to turn back up again. Brings a bunch of mid-range back in. Not my favorite sound, but it's there if you need it. If you have a different pickup or something that really loves all that mid-range. Now let's hear what the HRM does. I'm going to boost just a little bit. I'll just see what we got. A little bit more boost. And let's say I want to have something that's a little brighter. So I'm going to raise the high end just a little bit. And then I'll have it, here's the without it. Bring it in. Subtle difference. You can make it not so subtle. I got to tell you, you got a bunch of boost, and then these three EQs. It's very capable of sculpting in all different ways, and it's after the preamp, so it doesn't affect the amount of gain per se. It just gives you either more clarity or volume or some combination of the two. Okay, now I'm going to add to this video a couple of extra little tracks of playing along with tracks so you can see how this thing sits inside of a mix to the best of my ability. I'm not really Mr. Track guy, but I'll try to do a good job with that. Anyway. Ethos Overdrive Clean Fusion Deluxe. It's a mouthful, but it's a good mouthful.